In today's video we're just going to talk about the custom naming option for video files on the Panasonic GH6. So this probably isn't a feature that everybody's going to want to use, but it can come in really handy at times. So if you jump into the camera and then we go to the menu button, and then we want the spanner or wrench, fourth one down, and then we're in card and file, which is the top menu. In here we've got an option called video file name, and just below that, grayed out, we've got Cine Style File Setting. So what we'll do is jump into video file name, and by default it's set the it's called same as photo. So essentially when you're shooting your photos and your videos just all kind of follow that similar naming convention. They obviously can be split out if you decide to use something like allocation recording or something like that to different cards, but they still follow that similar type of naming convention. What we can do to come outside of that is we've got this Cine Style option. So if we click on that, it says the limitation is that we need to be using a card that's bigger than 48 gig, which if you're using this camera, I'm sure you will be, because you can't get much video on a 48 gig card. So yeah, if we select that, you'll see Cine Style File Settings now is available. If we click into this, essentially what we've got now is the option to set the so camera index, the first one, we can jump in. This isn't a full naming. It's essentially we're just setting an index to it, so it can be sort of D or K, essentially just a letter. So we can keep that as A. If we come back, we'll just make that A, and then you can change the card number as well. So you finish shooting one card, you can jump onto the next card and you can set that as well. So we'll just keep that at 1 for the minute. So essentially now that's going to change the way the files are saved to the camera. And like I say, it's not really for everybody, but if we jump onto the screen on the computer, I'll kind of show you why this might be useful. Okay, so we've just plugged in the card and it's here. So you can see it's named my card A001, and if we come into, this is where our files are normally saved, DCIM, and they follow this usual naming convention. You might have 101, 102. Once this folder gets filled up, it goes on to the next folder. And this is how our things are normally named. They follow this naming convention, so the photos sort of splice in with the video. Like I said, unless you're using allocation recording or something, and then they're sat on different cards. But this is generally sort of how they sit in order. And one thing you'll notice, the video, with the new naming convention is not in here. So the reason for that is because once you change into Cine, it's actually stored in private now. So anything you shoot once you're in that Cine naming convention is all within here. So you can see here we've got 001, and then this is our basically our Cine files. This is very confusing, the way this is all set out, but essentially the 001 is obviously the first folder, and then each bit of it refers to a different thing. So the third one along refers to I think it's the third one, refers to our frame rate that it's shot at. So we've essentially got D means that I'm shooting in 25 frames. And then we've got the Q is my video format. So because I'm shooting in MOV mode, that is or MOV, that's Q. And then the M on the end refers to the card slot. So M is card slot 1 and T is card slot 2. And obviously you don't have to remember any of that. That's not not necessary, but that's sort of what all of that refers to. And the same in the file, we've got we've got a whole naming convention for this, which part of it obviously is the way we'd set it up. So we've got A, which was our camera index, and then you can see we're 001 as well, and then it starts the naming of the actual the numbering of the files even here, so 001, 002. And it sort of follows that same thing. I mean, the obvious one you can see in there is you've got the date. So I mean, today's the 7th of April, 2022. So you've got that in there. And like I said, I won't run through all of these because you don't really need to know them all. They're all in the manual if you want to know exactly what all of those are. But essentially, we've got our indexing is all set up how we set it up in the camera, and the reason maybe you'd use this is if you're shooting on multiple cameras. In the past, I have made the mistake. I was shooting with somebody else. We were both shooting on GH5s, and we didn't set up the naming of the files in any way. So we shot a whole day together, and then when we got back, I was the one that put all the cards into the edit. And it was just a disaster because we had file names that were overlapping. So essentially, two files that were named the same thing that were completely different clips. So the way I had to structure it wasn't really the way I wanted to work with the files. I had to split them all into camera folders, and then beyond that, everything was split into. We had scenes and different parts of the shoot, and it was so much work before I could actually even start editing. So having something like this, if you could just quickly index one camera as, one of them is A, one of them's B. So, if you're shooting with multiple cameras, you're going to have an A cam, a B cam, maybe even a C cam or a crash cam or something like that. So, having them, just having that index there, although it seems it seems like it may be slightly pointless if you're just working in one camera, for having it across multiple cameras can be really useful because it's just a really quick way to get in and kind of reference what was from which camera. And like I say, you can go into it deeper as well because it does have all that information there. But I mean, for me, just that top level, being able to split it out as camera A and camera B is really useful. So it certainly has, it has a place. It's a really useful feature. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight into it. Like I say, it is a very in-depth setting, and it's something that if you really want to get the most out of it, if you do actually read in the manual about it, you're going to actually be able to delve right into it and probably find it very useful if you're the kind of person that does multicam shooting. And that for me, you don't have to be working with somebody else to be doing multicam. You could have one static cam set up while you're off shooting somewhere else. So it's a really useful thing to learn, even if you shoot with other people or you're just a one-man band. So hopefully that's helped. If it has, give the video a like, and if you want more content like this, then please subscribe to the channel.